What is up, Hot Wheels racing fans? This is the HSL Diecast channel, and you're watching the NASCAR Nitro Series. If you like to watch toy cars run down a track, you are in the right place. We're doing the qualifying for the 24 laps of Le Mans Modified Edition. Just like the stock counterparts, these guys are jet lagged, but they don't care. It's the longest straightaway in the NASCAR Nitro Series. What we're going to do, since we have an even number of cars, unlike the stocks, is an NCAA style bracket for the pole position. And we're going to start off with our points leader, Misty, and Lord Shank in the number 13 Ford Thunderbird. And Lord Shank actually gets a jump on Misty G, but she erases the deficit in a snap right when they get to the fat track, and Misty G will take it by 3 car lanes. And up next is Chef Squid going up against Gale Force, who won at Texas last week. And they are side by side, neck and neck, heading towards the bottom of the ramp and into the fat track. Chef Squid gets loose. Chef Squid turns sideways and won't finish the lap. Now we have Baby Richie Clyde, who is the heaviest car in the NASCAR Nitro Series, 99 grams, going up against Baby Richie, who unfortunately is off the pace compared to his teammates. And that is an easy blowout for Clyde by 2 track lanes. And that is now 2 DNQs for Baby Richie in 3 races. Up next is Lord Raymond and Bobby Allison. Lord Raymond's finished 5th both races so far. Bobby Allison got 13th in his debut last week, and they are keeping it close. Bobby Allison is catching up on the fat tracks, and Lord Raymond by a millimeter holds him off at the last second. And up next, it is Sloppy Bear versus Riot Isaac. Riot Isaac coming off of a podium. And Sloppy Bear takes a 2-car lane lead before they even get to the flat portion of the track. Riot Isaac is trying to catch up. 2 clutch blocks by Sloppy Bear gets him into the winner's bracket. And here in the replay is that first block. Riot Isaac kind of bounces off the back and loses a lot of speed there. Quickly recovers, only for Sloppy Bear to throw a sideways block across the finish line. What an exciting lap that was. And now we have Burt Buzzard for Cut Rock Creek Racing and Christy for G-Force Racing. Check his channel out. Lots of great racing content there too. Side by side, and Buzzard wins by 2 car lanes. Up next is Burt Buzzard's teammate Harry Hoon. Next to Sparky Racer for Mark Racell Racing. Soon as the gates are down, Harry jumps off to a 4-car length lead, almost a track segment now, and Harry Hoon will be moving on to the winner's bracket. And up next, we have our Daytona 500 winner, Heather, alongside Mike Honcho for Dog Squab Racing. Uncle Elvis, who got the sweep at Daytona, is trying to turn Heather's luck around after an early El Reco at Texas. And she did her part, wins by almost a track segment, and will be moving on to the winner's bracket. And up next, it's Gaza for the Barora Bangers and Giorgio for G-Force Racing. Like I said, check out that channel. Lots of great racing content. And they are side by side, neck and neck. And Gaza beats him to the line by about a car length after being neck and neck for most of the fat track. And up next, it is Gray in the red car for Sloppy Bear Racing, next to Elton Sawyer for Mark Racell Racing. Both of these teams with some surprising success. It's Gray this time, taking it to the winner's bracket and continuing his fight for the pole. And up next, it is Puff, the team owner of Puffs Racing, with Lucky Jackson from Po' Boy Racing. Lucky Jackson gets a 2-3 car length lead right out of the gate. And Puff tries to make it up, almost gets there, but doesn't. Po' Boy into the winner's bracket. And now it's time for J-Bo from Dog Squab Racing and William from Uncle Elvis Racing, and they are neck and neck. J-Bo has a slight advantage heading towards the finish line, and J-Bo will move on to the winner's bracket. Now it's time for Casey Kane and Charlie Verney, and what the heck happened to Casey Kane there? Charlie Verney's taking the lap all by himself. Casey Kane is stuck up on the start gate somewhere. Not sure why his car isn't moving. It's just sitting there with the gate down. Still sitting there, didn't move at all, like it's caught on something, and track hasn't changed at all. You see it's just not moving. I guess I'll have to investigate why this is happening. Obviously he's not going to race, and that's unfortunate because he's just coming off of a top 10 and showed a lot of speed in the 500 before bad luck caught up to him, and hopefully he'll be back for Martinsville. But we're moving on to Gavin McSplage in the 999 and Po' Boy in the number 4. And Po' Boy takes about a car length lead by the time they get to the bottom of the split track and increases his lead as they go into the fat track and wins by about a track segment. An unusual performance for Gavin there. He's shown a lot of speed last week, and now it's time for Bill Z. Bub in the number 47 and the Owlman in the number 38. And look at Bill go. He's almost got a track length lead already. He just wipes the floor with the Owlman in that segment. And that was the last heat of the first round of qualifying. Now it's time for Lord Shank to face Riot Isaac in the losing driver's bracket. And Riot Isaac takes about a car length lead. puts a block on Lord Shank and cruises his way into a better starting spot. And now it's time for Bobby Allison and Puff, two of the biggest teams in the NASCAR Nitro Series. And look at Bobby Allison. He just got shot out of a cannon there. He's got a track segment lead before they even leave the split track. And that is an unfortunate series of events for Puff, who's had great starts the first two races, great finishes too. And now it's time for Christy for G-Force Racing. Check out their channel, lots of great racing content. Going up against William, from Uncle Elvis Racing, Bobby Allison's teammate, and Christy moves on. Up next, it's the Owlman and Sparky Racer for Mark Racell Racing. And Sparky Racer has about a car length lead coming out of the gate. Owlman's keeping it steady there, about to catch up, and it's going to be a drag race. It's going to be a very close one, and the Owlman takes it at the last second. We're going to show that pass again slowed down on the replay cam. Here's as they get to the end of the split track. Sparky Racer has about a half a track segment lead. Owlman puts them side by side before they even get to the final segment and steals it at the finish line by less than a car length. And now it's Gavin McSpladge and Mike Honcho. Gavin McSpladge for Lord Shank Racing all the way from Australia. Mike Honcho from Dog Squad Racing, both great supporters of this channel. And Mike Honcho gets a little squirrely, and Gavin McSpladge wins that segment, avoids starting in the back. And now it's time for Mark Racell Racing with Elton Sawyer in the 38 and G-Force's other driver, Giorgio, in the number 27. Mark Racell just got his first podium in the stock race with Morgan Shepherd, but he's going to have to fight hard for it in the MANS. Both of his cars are going to be starting towards the back. We're going to draw for position from the losing drivers. And now we have Misty G versus Sloppy Bear for the first race of the winning drivers bracket, and Misty G is running away with this one by almost a track segment. And up next we have Gale Force, winner of last week's race at Texas, up against Lucky Jackson. Looks like Lucky Jackson has about a bumper length advantage as they head down the ramp, and they're keeping it side by side, neck and neck on the fat track, and it looks like Gale Force gets it at the end. That's another one for the replay cam, and you can see him halfway through the fat track. Gale Force makes up that bumper length lead, and then it's back and forth all the way to the finish line, and she gets it by slightly more than a bumper length. And now it's time for Clyde racing for Uncle Elvis Racing and J-Bo for Dog Squad Racing. Clyde is just flying past J-Bo. He's got a 3-car length lead before they even get to the fat track portion. J-Bo makes up a slight bit of it, but it is not nearly enough. Clyde moves on to race for the pole, and now it is Lord Raymond and Charlie Verney. And just like for Charlie's teammate in the first round, this is turning into a blowout, but it's not the side of the blowout that you want to be on. Lord Raymond takes it by a whole track segment. And up next, it's Bill Z, Bub, and Burt Buzzard. I did not do that on purpose. That's just the way the points ended up. And the gates are down, and Burt Buzzard blasts by Bill Z Bub, and that time it was on purpose. He's going to win this by over a track length and keep fighting on for the pole. Up next is his teammate Harry Hoon and Po Boy. And the gates are down. Harry Hoon takes about a half a car length lead, make it a car length lead by the time they get to the end of the split track. Staying steady at a car length lead for Harry Hoon, and he will move on to the next round. And up next, it is Heather, your Daytona 500 winner for Uncle Elvis Racing, alongside Sloppy Bear Racing's Gray in the red car. And this is another blowout. Heather's got a track segment lead, and Heather will move on to contend for the pole. And up next, it is Gaza for the Barora Bangers, up against Gray again, because Gray is the highest ranked driver to lose the last round. He gets a second chance to try and keep his pole hopes alive, but it's not going to work out. Gaza moves on to the next round, and he will be going up against Misty G, your points leader, and he actually takes the lead, about a car length lead before they get to the bottom of the ramp. Misty G is closing the gap a little bit, but will it be enough? Gaza picks up speed and beats her to the line. Up next, it is Gale Force and Heather, our two race winners so far this season, and Heather gets a decent jump, about a half a car length lead, heading out of the gate and onto the fat track. She keeps that car length lead, throws a block on Gale Force, and Heather will move on. Now up next is Clyde for Uncle Elvis Racing and Harry Hoon for Cut Rock Creek Racing. And look at Clyde, he just got shot out of a cannon. Harry Hoon is a fast car, but he is laying it down, showing Harry Hoon, whose boss beats him by a track segment. Just utter dominance in a contest between two of the fastest cars. And speaking of fast cars, we got Lord Raymond and Burt Buzzard. And halfway down the ramp, nobody is giving the other an inch here. And heading into the fat track, they hit each other twice. It looks like Lord Raymond got a slight edge there, but it's Burt Buzzard at the very last second. And this is definitely another one for the replay cameras. See, Burt Buzzard gets smacked in the side by Lord Raymond right there, who takes about a bumper length lead. Not even, but it is Burt Buzzard at the very last second, regains a little bit of speed, and will move on to the last four. Now it is Clyde and Gaza. Both of these guys have second place finishes so far this year, and Clyde is just laying down that 99 gram hammer, has a 3-car length lead before they even leave the split track. he easily moves on to the final race for the pole. And our other two drivers, Heather and Burt Buzzard. And just like his race with Lord Raymond, they are neck and neck heading into the end of the split track. He knows Heather's got a 15-gram advantage on him, throws a strategic sideways block, and will move on to the finals. These are your 1-2 starters. Clyde and Burt Buzzard, both in T-Bird stockers. Clyde's got about 30 grams on Burt and the inside lane, and he's been dominant throughout this whole event. And the gates are down, and Burt Buzzard flies off to a car length lead before I can even finish my sentence. And he has been saving it for this moment. Throws another block, and it is going to be Burt Buzzard as your pole sitter for the 24 laps of Le Mans. And here are the draws for everybody else. I believe that's a 2 of diamonds for Harry Hoon. And it looks like Gale Force is going to get the last first place starting spot. And here are some of the drivers that got eliminated in earlier rounds. 2 cars failed to finish the lap on speed, and Casey Kane had some mechanical issues. So there's going to be 9 stocks to be used as the field fillers in this race. The top 9 finishers from the stock Le Mans, which we uploaded last week, will be your final 9 starting positions. And those are the 2-time losing drivers. There's some surprising faces in there like Puff and William. Will one of them rebound in the race? And looks like Puff and Lord Shank both drew a Queen of Diamonds. So they're going to drag race each other for one final starting spot. And Lord Shank in that T-Bird stalker drives off to an early lead, but Puff makes it back by the end of the split track, throws a block on Lord Shank, and he'll have one slightly better starting spot than Lord Shank. And this is going to be your final starting lineup. We got Burt Buzzard on the pole. Next to him is Misty G. In second place, we got Clyde and Harry Hoon. Solid starting spots for Sloppy Bear and Bill Z Bub and Lucky Jackson. All of them need a good points day. And we have our stock race winner. We have some stocks rounding out the field that did well in the stocks race. If you want to see your cars on my channel, send it to HSL Diecast, P.O. Box 7, Wind Gap, Pennsylvania, zip code 18091. And don't forget to hit that like button, leave a comment, and if you haven't done so already, subscribe. We'll see you guys out on the track.